Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another entitled parent Reddit video. In our first story, excuse me sir, your son just shot me. So this took place back in 2008-ish. In Iowa, quite a few state parks have shooting ranges that are completely free and just have posted rules. As a rule, everyone is responsible for making sure the range is safe and clean. I had just bought a new pew-pew and wanted to sight it into my shooting style. I'm a left-handed shooter but right-eye dominant. When I get to the range, there's the usual people there, including the brass thief, but he's another story for another time. The far left lane is open. I move my stuff to the table and start setting up my sled and other equipment. To the right of my lane is a father and son shooting a tiny bolt-action .22. The gun was one of those that take a key to function every time. Now the kid was maybe 10 years old and seemed to know how to use the rifle because he was loading .22 shorts, using the key to reload and shooting again. He was being safe and keeping it pointed down range. His dad is giving pointers and overall being a good mentor. I load and shoot. Wait for the range to clear and reset targets. His dad walks away and leaves the kid to shoot. I pick up my rifle and start to wipe the barrel and was planning on waiting for the barrel to cool, shoot, wait 0, and so on, but no. I hear the kid fumbling with the keys and getting frustrated. Pop! I just got punched in the leg. It hurt, but in a weird way. The kid squeaks a sorry and I take inventory. I feel my leg and find the hole. It wasn't even bleeding yet, but still my brain was going, holy I just got shot. This was prior to going overseas and will end up being only the first time I was shot. I look for the dad and he's fiddling with fishing equipment in the back of his truck. I say, excuse me, sir. He interrupted me saying his son is allowed to shoot and they aren't moving. I say, yes, sir, but the issue is he just shot me. The father laughs and says, no, he didn't. I take my hand off my leg and show him, as by now it has started to bleed, but not spray. That's good at least. He starts to argue that I must have shot myself because his son has been shooting since he could walk. I say, accidents happen. I'm not upset. I just need insurance information for the ranger and paramedics as I need to call 911. He offers me $100 to just leave and say it was an accident. I say no and call 911. Other people on the range both started to gather and go find a park ranger. The dad keeps arguing, saying his son couldn't have shot me because he doesn't know how to load the gun, and if he did it, it was because I was downrange. The kid pipes in and says, yeah, I do, Dad. You showed me and I shot him. It was an accident. At this point, the dad starts to panic and starts tossing everything into the truck in a scramble to get away. Before he can, another shooter grabs the keys off the kid's table, as they were also the truck keys. The guy gets more and more upset as I sit there with my pinky stuffed in a brand new hole. Eventually, the ranger gets there and everyone starts yelling their side of what happened. The ranger calms everyone down as the police arrive and start sorting through everything. I explain the kid shot me by accident. The dad was freaking out and tried to leave, but another person has his keys. They summon an ambulance and they look me over. The officers handcuffed the dad and I was like, wait, he didn't do any harm. I'm not pressing charges. The officers explained that he was a felon and thus not allowed to be around guns anyway. I'm taken away and they remove the bullet, no major harm done, but it did chip bone. I know this wasn't an exciting story, and on a scale of 1 to 10 for entitled, it's only like a 3, but still. My stepmother wanted my mom's ring. I just saw a video with a similar story, so I wanted to share mine. I'm a 20-year-old female. My mother died when I was 11, one day after my birthday to be precise. It was a really hard loss, and I miss her every day since. My father didn't leave much of her belongings since it hurt him too much. Around a year and a half after she died, he remarried. Long story, but that was a mistake and they divorced this year. The woman he married hated me. I don't know what it was or why, but she hated me. Whenever we went shopping, she would tell my father not to spend money on me since I am a spoiled brat anyways and don't deserve anything. When I liked or wanted something, she automatically snatched it out of my hands and threw it back on the shelf, telling me it's too good for me or she would get it for herself. Same with perfume, which triggered me the most eventually, but the actual story is probably the worst of all. When I turned 17, my father sat me down and gave me my mother's jewelry collection. The only thing he kept was her wedding ring, obviously. He just recently told me 3 years later that he did so because he had a feeling my stepmother and stepbrother were snooping for it. I was shocked, if I'm honest. I didn't expect to get the jewelry, especially my mom's favorite ring, a pretty expensive one too. I didn't wear the ring the first few days and hid the box in my wardrobe, trying to cope with the situation since it did make me sad. A bittersweet type of moment. When I finally decided to put the ring on, all hell broke loose. When my stepmother came home from work that day and saw me wearing the ring, she demanded that I tell her why I have it. I simply left the room, not wanting to argue. When my dad came home, she mentioned it while we were sitting at the dinner table, thinking I stole it from my father so he would punish and belittle me. He looked at her and told her to drop it. Later in the evening, I heard her yelling and screaming, telling my father that she deserved it more and that I could go without and shut my bratty spoiled mouth so he should just demand everything back. I was laughing in my room because that was just ridiculous. My dad then yelled at her to shut her mouth and never demand anything that belonged to my mother or me ever again because I was there first. It was one of the only times my father stood up for me. Should my mother be allowed to look through my phone and make changes to my novel? For context, I'm a 13-year-old male and I'm writing a novel. I have 2 phones as I recently got an iPhone 13 from my dad and I'm selling my old iPhone 7. Today when I got home, I went upstairs to change for my school clothes and I decided to stay upstairs and do stuff on my iPhone 13. My dearest mother called me downstairs, so I ran down and I find her on my old phone. She yells at me about a specific chapter that uses derogatory language, God fricking damn it, and says this is unacceptable. She then tells me as punishment, she deleted my entire flipping novel I spent 5 weeks on. Luckily, I have it saved, so this isn't a huge issue. I just find it sad that my mother would look through my phone without my permission, which I feel is a huge breach of privacy. Am I overreacting? Because I'm not sure, and I feel sort of bad as we got into a huge shouting match, and now she's upstairs crying because she does everything right and gets treated like crap. Here's an edit. For clarity, my mom and I usually get on pretty well. This was just one isolated incident. She has since apologized and admitted she overreacted, and we seem to be getting along for now. She felt horrible about destroying my work, but luckily I have it on backup, so we're fine. Thanks for all the support, not just with my mother, but also with my novel. It means so much to me that a bunch of internet strangers would help me write this. Thanks, lads and lasses. For clarity, I've told my mother I have multiple backups now, but not where, just in case. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, then subscribe. I would love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.